Good morning, guys. So today begins the nightmare manifold job. Ah! So this is my start. So you can see. Oh, let's zoom in here. So you can there you go. So you can see there ain't much of a nut on there. So I'm gonna try to get a socket on there and see what happens. If not, I'll probably just melt that nut off with the old torch. And then we get to go onto that rotten toilet of a mess next. There she is. And all that's dirty, dirty nightmare. So those nuts aren't coming off easy, but that's okay. I'm just gonna cut these studs off right here. Change the manifold anyways. And even if I cut on this side of the shoulder, I'll deal with it when the flange is down below, but I'm pretty sure I can get my little cutter in here. Just cut those off quick, get that on my way, and then we start this process. I know this hole's probably going to be a bit of a nightmare. It's been rotten for a long time, but not my first, not my last shitty fort to do. Oh, one down, one to go. See that second one, I definitely have to torch off. Now those are those stainless studs, so they're kind of a nightmare to cut with the torch, but still doable. One thing I do on these is undo those two motor mount nuts. Normally these particular 5.4s are very easy, so you don't have to. But lifting up the motor mount just gives you just that much more room. Because this one's so rotten, I'm going to need all the room that I can get. Alright, let's try to hammer on some sockets on here. If I can't do that, all I'm going to do is take my torch, cut all these off, and then I will deal with the studs after. Well, dang, we're already on a good start. First one cracked loose with a 11mm socket. Normally these are 13s. Cool. Hopefully the rest come out like that. Wow, they actually all came apart relatively easy. So, alright. Now I'm going to just send this off to the machine shop. I'm just kidding. Jeez, that should all blow out right there. Okay, this is where the fun begins. So this stud's broken, it's broken really deep in. This stud's broken, super deep in as well. And then this stud's been broken for many moons. So this is where the welding skills are really going to come into play. So sure, it's going to take me a little bit to get these studs out. These are some of the tighter ones that I've done in the last little while, but not undoable. Alright, let's get started. So before welding, I like to just take a little die grinder like this, and I like to just clean up the rust in that stud so I have a better chance of getting a weld to stick to that. First thing I do, build up some weld studs, and then I'll take a 10 by 125 or 150, that doesn't really freaking matter, and I'll put it over and I will weld that onto those weld studs. Alright, so everybody has their own techniques. Some guys will weld washers to it first. I've done that in the past, but as long as you build up your stud far enough, it doesn't matter. To me, it's a wasted step. Because all you're trying to accomplish with the washer is to try to get a good weld on that stud. But if you build out that stud far enough, you're gonna get a good weld with a nut. All right. So once you start doing enough of them, that washer is not necessary. I've done hundreds of these, and this is just my technique that seems to work for me. Hey, if you have a technique that works for you, all power to you. Do what works for you. I usually like using a curved pair of pliers like this. Just kind of helps you hold it in place. I've used vice grips as well before. These just seem to work a little better. All right, so let's get those welded on. There you go, got the first one welded on. So right now, at this point, I'm gonna do the other ones. If I only had the one to do, I'd take water and cool it off, shock it real quick. But here I'm just gonna let it cool down naturally. You can take a hammer, let it cool down, and tap on it before I start turning it. That one I'll wait to tap. The nice thing with the tap as well, not only does it break away the rust, but it also helps determine if you got a decent penetration to start. Now, for this part, I always grab a wrench. This will be 17. So I always like to get it moving with a wrench because I can work it back and forth. It's moving really good, then I can grab a socket at that point. So here we go. So obviously I did not get good penetration on that one. That's okay. So this one's starting to move nice. Like I said, you gotta work it. Sometimes it gets to a tight spot. Now this one, I got moving. Alright, but because that hole is so rotten and stuff like that, I'm probably gonna have to do a couple nuts. Just because what happens is you're basically using this stud as a thread chaser at this point. Alright, so we'll get that one out. So there you go. First one's down. Again, like I said before, doesn't need to be pretty, just needs to get her out. Alright, let's get the other two. Number 2. Alright, we got 1 to go. You can see, even right here, you don't need much to grab onto those. Winner chicken dinner, and this was actually my worst one, but also goes to show your weld does not have to be perfect. There we go. All 3 studs are out. 3 more little trophies. Alright, so now, clean it up. Gonna run a thread chaser through all these holes, get the new manifold on and torqued up, and should be all good to go. So Ford will be quiet-ish for another day.